All right, so in this video, we'll be going over the 24-25 secondary essay prompts for Drexel University College of Medicine. So prompts typically don't change from one year to the next, but we'll update the resources on our site if they do in future application cycles. So Drexel receives a high volume of apps each year. Specifically for the entering class of 2023, they had almost 16,000 applications, and part of this is because the stats of their matriculants are relatively lower than that of applicants to a lot of other top allopathic med schools. So in that same application cycle, 22-23, Drexel matriculants averaged a 3.66 and a 5.11 MCAT. So that high volume of applicants inevitably, drives their acceptance rate down, but not as low as you might expect. So there were 304 matriculants into their entering class of 2023, which puts their acceptance rate at around 6%. That's, of course, by no means a high acceptance rate, but it's on the higher end compared to other private allopathic med schools in the US where matriculants have similar or higher stats. So we'll get into the first Drexel prompt in a moment. We just want to share a quick note to check out our secondary essay library after watching this video, which has sample essays for every prompt required by every US and Canadian med school. It's over 1,000 essays in total. And also check out our secondary series here on YouTube, where you can learn our key strategies for writing each of the 6 main types of secondary essays. Okay. Looking at the first prompt for Drexel, it reads, please discuss all of your current and recent activities and engagements that have prepared you for medical school. Please be sure to include any traditional and or non-traditional clinical exposures and volunteering experiences that you have done that are not already included in your application. You have 2,000 characters to respond. So this first prompt is a little broad, but you'll just want to be sure that you're very thorough in your response. So they ask for all of your current and recent activities and engagements you've been involved in on your path toward medical school, so you should include all the relevant details you can fit. You want to expand on what you've already written in the work and activities section, provide more context, and maybe even tell a couple of stories about the most meaningful experiences. But if you're hung up on the word recent in the prompt, we'd recommend just sticking to activities from, say, the past 4 years. They also ask you to write about traditional and or non-traditional clinical exposures and volunteering experiences that you haven't included in your application yet. So these could be things that you left out because you thought they weren't relevant enough, because you ran out of room in the work and activities section, or maybe because you started, them after submitting your primary application. And for every experience you mention, you'll want to clearly state what you learned, what your responsibilities were, and what skills or perspectives you gained as a result. You don't want adcoms to have to guess about what skills you learned on the job or in what ways you think an experience has helped prepare you to be a great doctor. One final point on this one before we move on. If you can find a way to do it naturally, it's often a good idea to mention ways that you plan to sort of keep up momentum with some of the most meaningful experiences once you get to Drexel. So for example, if you spent a lot of time volunteering with a music or art therapy club at a children's hospital during your undergrad years, you might want to mention that you plan to get involved in Drexel's Healing Arts Club, which does a lot of art therapy outreach work in the community. So this can also tie in really nicely with the next essay, where you get a chance to focus on demonstrating your fit with Drexel. Okay, moving on to that second prompt. Why are you interested in Drexel? Please also explain how you meet various elements of our mission: compassion, care, diversity, spirited inquiry, collaboration, and opportunity. So you have 1,500 characters for this essay. So this one's a classic why us prompt. And with pretty much all of these, your top priority should be demonstrating fit with the school. We go more in depth about this concept in our Why Us video of the secondary series, but basically this just means that you need to show how the school is uniquely suited to help you achieve your goals, as well as how you are uniquely suited to contribute something meaningful to the school, whether it be through research, community service, campus involvement, etc. And what's really nice about this particular prompt is that they actually come right out and tell you what some of the key parts of their mission are, like compassionate care, diversity, spirited inquiry, collaboration, and opportunity. So from there, you can do some of your own research on the school to learn more about what programs and initiatives they have that put those values into action. So we have more details on how to do this kind of research for any med school in our essential pre-writing strategies video. But just to give you a basic idea, you could start by researching, their 20 plus affiliated hospitals and ambulatory sites to find out which ones are most suited to the specific kind of medical training you hope to receive. Or you could look into their renowned spinal cord or malaria research centers. So Drexel's website also has a ton of information about dozens of student-led orgs that are focused on campus and community health. So there should be something for everyone. Whatever you choose to write about, though, make sure that it's specific and unique to your own goals and interests as a future physician. So don't just repeat impressive stats or facts about the school. So the AdComs already know what opportunities they have to offer, right? So they want to know how you're going to actively make the most of those opportunities and give back to the institution and the community. All right, moving on to the third and final prompt. It reads, please describe any extenuating circumstances that may have affected your medical or non-medical service experiences, including any circumstances that impacted your engagement in activities, academics, and MCAT that would have helped to prepare you for medical school. You also have 1,500 characters for this essay. So this one is technically optional. You only need to respond to it if it applies directly to you. It's a bit like an additional information prompt, but with elements of an adversity prompt as well. So the AdCom is giving you a chance to explain the reasons behind any academic shortcomings or gaps in your resume over the past few years. We don't recommend responding to this one if you only have a few B's on your transcript, or if you just didn't get one of the big internships or research positions you applied for. If your grades and your MCAT didn't significantly drop, and if you were consistently racking up clinical and service hours over the past few years, there's probably no need to write this essay. But if, on the other hand, you did experience a significant personal challenge that interfered with your ability to meet the AdCom standards and expectations, then you can use this space to explain what the challenge was, what actions and choices you made to overcome it, what the outcome was, and how you grew. We also recommend mentioning how you'll take what you learned during this challenging period and apply it whenever you face challenges in med school and your future career. So that wraps things up for Drexel. We hope you find this one useful while working on your secondary essays for Drexel. And if you're in search of sample essays for every prompt required by every med school in the US and Canada, visit our secondary essay premium example hub. We have over 1,000 essays in total. Take care.